The Pull Bag is the GCRN's place for everything you need in the comic book world. We focus on new and current comics while also tackling a few back issues here and there. So join the entire GCRN crew and see what issues the hosts have with today's panels. You can find the Pull Bag on iTunes and GeekCastRadio.com. Make your great escape into comics.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek. Thank you everyone for listening so far and for all the plethora of comments that we mistakenly missed before we recorded episode 2.
Yeah, I felt bad for that.
Yes, as did I. I didn't even think to check the site before recording because, as we kind of mentioned off air, that listener participation is been low other than during the Wars tournaments or the top 100.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, we appreciate everyone that's been writing it. And you know what? It's not just us not paying attention to you guys. Steve, I also noticed that I posted a question for Off the Cuff on the show, on the site forums, and you answered, and I didn't see it. So it's not just the listeners. We're doing it to each other. So everyone is just, we're shouting into a void, but we're going to try not to do that now.
Yes.
And we've got an email?
Yes, we did. The email is from Thomas Blake, and basically the gist of it is he's answering the questions we posed at the beginning of episode 1, which was top pick for Wonder Woman, who he says should be Gina Carano, I believe.
Yes, I think, and I could be wrong. I can actually look this up. I think she was just in Furious 7. Fast and Furious 7.
She was in 6.
6. Sorry, Fast 5 Furious 6. Got it. Wow, yep. That was bad.
Yeah, and I've seen like Photoshop things with her in that place.
Are they deviant art photoshops?
I don't know. I've seen them kind of floating around, but I mean how her just basing it off her appearance and not having seen her acting ability, I could see her playing Wonder Woman. That's probably the closest I could see at this point until another name pops out.
Right. I guess we didn't throw out any names. I mean, this is the only name that was thrown out with regards to who could play Wonder Woman. So, all right. I mean, I saw her in Furious 6. When I saw her, I didn't immediately think Wonder Woman, because she doesn't have that big of a role in the movie. Like, still no idea how well she can carry something.
Well, she's, I believe, an MMA fighter as well.
Yeah, and I think I actually first heard her because I think she is Henry Cavill's girlfriend, or was at the time when Man of Steel was getting shot.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's that. Again, I heard that somewhere. I mean, I don't know either one of them personally, so I don't know if it's true. But you know what? Totally got sidetracked. The hosts, who are they listening to?
Oh yes, I am Steve Megatron Phillips, and you are?
I am Mike Powers, co-host of this show and host of Off the Cuff for GeekCast Radio.
And I'm kind of all over the place.
Yep.
Depending on whatever the topic happens to be. And to pull the bullet wounds out of PFG1 Mike.
Yeah.
Because I threw him under the bus in the first episode.
Yeah.
During my introduction. And he's like, ow, the bullet wounds, they hurt.
So, but yes, thank you everyone that's listening, and thank you for the feedback. And, you know, we will take, you make it easy to think about things to talk about on here. But we do have a plethora of things to talk about today. And hopefully it'll be a little more lively because I can actually see Steve now.
Yes, and I can see him as well because we're experimenting with webcams and
Yeah, just trying to make the podcast the best it can be.
yes.
And it's short, and I feel like I can actually use it to learn something. So, let's see. What do you want to talk about first, Steve?
I guess we should probably talk about the Star Wars rumors.
Yes. The only one I have is the Ian McDiarmid, possibly rumored to come back for Episode 7.
As Emperor Palpatine.
Yes. Well,
or
as a Force
variation.
Ghost of Emperor Palpatine.
Or it could be like the Dark Empire comic.
Right.
It's a clone. It's a clone.
It could be that. But I guess the bigger thing to me was that he had like another Sith Lord in training rumor that was underneath it. I don't know. At this point, I'm kind of over the Jedi. I just want stories without the swords.
Yeah, it seems like it seems like they've done that through the first 3.
Yeah. I think I'm excited, as any proper geek probably should be, for Episode 7, but I'm interested to see visually how it compares, because one of the reasons I was able to accept the prequels is because they were in fact prequels, and everything is supposed to be all shiny and happy-go-lucky and, clean and nice, and then of course you have a war that goes on for like 16 years and a rebellion, and then you end up with 4, 5, and 6, and everything kind of looks beaten up and downtrodden and held together by duct tape. And granted, that was part of the special effects they had to use at the time, but it's going to be interesting to see, do they carry over some of that grit to the world of Episode 7, or is it back to everything shiny and chromed out and just, I don't know. I want to see something, and I guess it was really interesting that Disney just had their D23 conference and they showed nothing.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised about that too, considering that this is quite possibly the greatest piece of geek media to hit in the last decade, at least, I would say, just because Star Wars is such a fan favorite to... It's got a soft spot for pretty much everybody.
Yeah, I know, working at a movie theater, we see the Twilight crowd, and there was the Spider-Man crowd and stuff like that, and the people that I work with at the movie theater have never worked through a Star Wars, and I worked through Episode 3 at a much larger theater, and they sometimes run around like chickens with their heads cut off when a movie, a big movie like Twilight comes out, and it's like this big deal, and it's like, I'm like, you guys don't know, nothing. This is nothing. Why are you? And so I'm interested to see, what happens when it comes back, and it's 2015, right? That's the same summer as Avengers. That's
it's going to be the same summer as Avengers 2, and I believe
that one movie we're not supposed to talk about anymore for a while.
that embargoed movie.
Yeah.
That there's all kinds of fallout with right now because of other rumors that are popping up.
Yep.
But no, I mean, I would welcome the actor back, but I hope that he's not like a main part of the film. I think that being that the first 3, you have it all shiny and new, and then you have them jump almost 20 years to Episode 4, and then you go through that, and then through Episode 6. I think they need to jump the next logical 20 years with the story, and I mean, because obviously they're going to have the actors back that played Luke, Leia, and Han.
Right.
And so they're going to have to make them older anyway, and it'll be kind of a... But I hope that they focus more on story and not fan-wanking on the old content too much.
Right.
Yeah. I hope it's more of a passing of the torch, kind of like the old Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda in the original trilogy of 4, 5, 6. It's kind of a passing of the torch with a new generation, not really...
Okay, I see what you're talking about. I got it.
I mean, so basically, Luke would be your Obi-Wan Kenobi, kind of going through the whole, that new trilogy, but it would be less focused on them. They could create a whole new trilogy out of it without having to keep referring to old stuff.
It is J.J. Abrams, and he just remade Star Trek II as Into Darkness. I wouldn't be surprised if Luke dies in Episode 7. Like Obi-Wan did.
Yeah, I could possibly see that coming. I mean, I would honestly kind of hate that. I would rather he died in like 8 or 9, and then have like Leia kind of as here or there, not really in it all that much. And I think Harrison Ford wanted to have his character killed in 7 anyway, so he doesn't have to come back. Which,
oh man,
it's like the Bill Murray thing all over again with Ghostbusters.
Well, at least he's coming back.
Yeah,
Unlike
at least
Bill Murray,
he's saying, yeah, I'll come back and hit it one more time.
Yeah. Now the other rumor that was flying around was they were casting rumors. One was Zac Efron and Ryan Gosling. Now, I don't have a problem with Ryan Gosling, and the only thing that I've seen Zac Efron in was a movie where he played opposite Matthew Perry.
The 17 again?
Yes. And yeah, 17 again is a pretty cookie cutter, family comedy or whatever, but I actually kind of enjoyed it, and I didn't hate him in the movie, So I guess it's kind of like casting choices. I gotta wait. Like, even it's a rumor that they're looking at those two guys, but even if they end up being cast, I'm still not gonna cry and whine over it, because anybody can be made to look like anything in a movie. I guess it's kind of like people. It's like when people started seeing shots of like cell phone shots from Dark Knight Rises or from like Amazing Spider-Man. Everyone was like, "Oh, this movie's gonna be awful. What is going on? This is stupid." And then you see like the final presentation, and it's actually pretty solid.
Yeah, I can honestly kind of agree with that, just because, I mean, even myself, and it's pretty much truthful of most people and geeks in general that kind of jump all over everything and say, oh, it's going to be terrible, because we don't see how it's going to fit, obviously. And we're not the ones casting it or figuring everything out. And obviously they have a plan in mind to where it will work out. I mean, sometimes the vision falls short, but most of the time they know what they're doing. They nail it on the head. And then we all end up liking it anyway.
Right. And I think the most recent hoopla over the whole casting decision thing, I think Heath Ledger as the Joker comes to mind. Because when they first announced that he was playing the Joker, everyone was like, I don't want a Brokeback Cowboy, playing my, how could he possibly be the Joker? And then they blew everyone's minds with his portrayal of the Joker. So I will, no matter whatever casting comes out of this, I will withhold until you see a trailer. And even then, if the Green Lantern has taught us anything, trailers also may not do a movie solid justice. I mean, I know a lot of people were, and I might be in the minority here, a lot of people were skeptical of the suit in Green Lantern, but I didn't have a problem with it. I had a problem with the mask.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a problem of that as well, but I mean, the suit, I kind of liked the update.
Yeah, but the mask, there was something about it that didn't look right. It's almost like they should have actually just used the same kind of makeup they used in Batman and Robin, where it was like with Robin's mask. They should have just actually had a mask on his face instead of trying to digitize it. I think it would have held up a lot better.
Yeah, it did look kind of funky.
But just a couple examples of how, of something, an idea in your head might not translate very well until you see it in a trailer, and then trailers might not translate very well to what you'll see in the actual movie. So
I honestly, I could see Zac Efron actually kind of fitting with that more than Gosling.
I can see
just because he has that kind of look about him that he could kind of fit into it more so. I mean, I could see Gosling just for his acting ability more so than his looks. I mean, obviously, like you said, they can doctor anybody up, make them look how they want. But I have seen him in a couple different movies besides 17 again. He was in that The Lucky One, Charlie St. Cloud, and Me and Orson Welles.
Okay. I remember wanting to see Me and Orson Welles, but
That was actually pretty good.
So, and like I said, I have no problem with either one of their acting abilities. It's just, if someone there thinks that that's a good choice, then I'm okay with it. It's kind of like another side note here, Matthew McConaughey joining Interstellar with Christopher Nolan.
It's a little different.
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with Matthew McConaughey myself, but his last few outings in the theater, outside of I think like Lincoln Lawyer or something like that, have been romantic comedies with
I know who you're talking about.
Oh, what is her name?
She's
the
daughter of Goldie Hawn. I know who you're talking about.
Right. Well, I like her. That's Kate. Yeah. Oh my gosh! Wow, we're really
Kate
bad.
Hudson.
Yes, Kate Hudson, and then the other one was Sarah Jessica Parker. I
can't stand her.
Can't stand her either.
Horse face.
So, but those were his last couple outings. So yeah, it might be kind of hard to see him in a Christopher Nolan movie, but I'm interested to see what Chris can get him to do. So,
as am I.
Not to mention everybody else is in that movie. So, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that doesn't leave us with a very good transition.
No.
Into another topic. Well, I guess I recently watched all of the 2012 Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
Have you seen it?
How do you like it? Yes, I've watched the entire season.
I like it. The only thing that I'll knock it for is it's a cartoon. I guess I can't really... No, actually, I can hold it to this because there are hand-drawn cartoons that do this better. For being set in New York City, the place is surprisingly sparse of people.
Yeah.
It's usually it's them and whoever they're fighting, and there's no bystanders.
That's strange. I've never thought about that watching that show. It's only people that are going to be abducted by the Krang anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like maybe it's because I didn't watch it week to week. I steamrolled like the first 22 episodes of it, and I just kind of noticed that void that was there. So I was like, oh, this is kind of... And the only reason I say, yeah, I can knock it for this is because another series that I talked about in episode 1 here, Legend of Korra, they have a city that is very well fleshed out, and there's bystanders walking down the street, there's people shopping at carts and buying stuff, and it's a very fleshed out world, and it's a fictional world. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles takes place in New York City, and there isn't a person to be found. So that's the only thing I'll knock it on.
And yet, watching Beware the Batman, there are actually bystanders around.
Yeah. I think, as always, for some reason, Michelangelo is my favorite character. I like some of his one-liners.
Oh yeah, he's got some goofy ones in this show.
Yeah,
and they replaced Cowabunga with Booyakasha, which, I mean, I'm all right with that. They're updating it for the modern day, so I mean, whatever. But I still would have liked to at least heard that every now and again, and one of somebody saying it.
Right. Well, at least that makes more sense than Whiskers in Thundercats. Whiskers. What? Come on. No, that doesn't make any sense. Just use... I mean, obviously you're not going to swear or anything like that, but you could find some other word than whiskers, because we're all cats. We have to say whiskers. That just... Yeah. Anytime I heard that, I cringed watching that series. But I like the series, and I'm looking forward to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's coming next year. It's being moved from June to August now. And when I originally read this story, I I feel like it's being sent to die in that time, in that spot, because it's coming out the week after Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's coming out before Expendables 3.
Yeah, it's gonna get hammered.
Yeah, I feel like something.
It should have been a May. It should have been somewhere between April and July,
or just not between those two movies. I mean, okay, maybe Expendables 3 isn't might not be that big of a thing, but I think Marvel's on a tear right now, and putting something after Guardians of the Galaxy is just asking for trouble.
It should have come out 2 weeks before.
So I think either, and again, I haven't seen anything. There's nothing really about the production that I've seen that makes me like cringe. But then again, we haven't seen the turtles, and they're all being motion captured.
Yeah, which I think is kind of. I mean, I kind of agree with it to an extent, because they can do some pretty good things with motion capture now that they didn't have 25 years ago.
Right.
But I like still the articulation of the old suits from the old 80s, 90s films.
Yeah, I guess
because it was more real.
But here's the thing, I guess they're using the same technique that was used in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Have you seen that?
Okay.
And you know that I didn't really. I don't think that there was a moment in there where I thought Caesar wasn't an actual gorilla. Because it's Andy Serkis being motion captured.
Gollum.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, Gollum is a believable character, and I found Caesar in Rise of the Planet of the Apes to be believable, to hold up, especially next to live actors. So, and having not seen what design they're going for with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I've got nothing to say. You know, there's nothing to really go off of. The script rumors and stuff, that goes back to what we talked about earlier. I gotta wait until I see the movie before I actually judge anything.
Yeah, that's one of those movies that it's gonna be kind of hit or miss, because it'll be the first time in 20 years they've tried to actually make a film.
Well,
live action film.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Because I know they had TMNT and then Turtles Forever, which they were great, but live action wise, it definitely needs the revival. I'm hoping that they either, because I know that they got actors underneath the suits, obviously, you know, for the motion capture and everything. I'm hoping that the voices are at least in that kind of range that the characters have always been in, personality range.
I think you'll get that.
I mean, I just hope that it's not like god awful.
Well, I know the actors they got to play them. I know one of them was like supposed to be Aquaman on Smallville. The other one is a guy from Shameless.
I've never heard of any of them, so I mean, I can't really pass any judgment on them. But it'll be interesting to say the least. I just hope that they don't go. Because Michael Bay's in it with like, oh, we gotta have explosions, oh, we gotta have this. It's like it's Ninja Turtles, and I hope to God they don't make them. I hope they don't make them actual aliens. I understand the ooze being alien because even in the Nickelodeon cartoon that's out now, they made the ooze is from the Krang's home planet.
My understanding
whereas in
is
the other series that was live action, they manufactured it.
Well, yeah, I mean, my understanding is that the ooze being of alien origin is canon with the comic. That's my understanding. So
it came from Dimension X, and
right.
They actually have one of the I think Laird is on board.
Yeah.
As consultant kind of thing. So I mean, I understand that, and some people are pissing and moaning over the title because they're calling it Ninja Turtles.
Well, I think it's actually back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now. But I think that crap, I forgot what I was gonna say. Whatever. But I'm like you, I enjoyed the original one. the one that came out in 90. Did not realize they came out a year apart. Turtles and Turtles 2.
Yeah. And then Turtles 3 was like 2 years later.
Yeah, it was 90, 91, and then 93.
3. Yep.
So, but in my opinion, they slowly declined after the first one. But I actually enjoyed the 2007 TMNT.
Yeah, I did too. I
I
enjoyed that and Turtles Forever, despite them making fun of the 87.
I went in today. I went and picked up I was just going to buy the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Blu-ray because I haven't seen it in a while, and I wanted to see if it still held up. But I didn't want to buy one that was really expensive because with the new movie coming out next year, there's going to be special editions and all that stuff coming. So I was like, well, I had $15 in Best Buy money, and they were willing to price match Amazon's price for the 3-disc Blu-ray that has all 3 movies in it. So I snagged that. I didn't pay anything for it today, and I watched the first one today. It still holds up, I think. Granted, I can quote it line for line, like, I'm 10 years old watching it for the first time, but
Yeah, I bought the 4-pack that it was on DVD on like Black Friday.
Is it the pizza box edition?
No, it's like it's got 2 discs in it, and one side's one film, and then the other side's the other film. So I mean, but it's the 90, 91, 93, and then the 2007.
Okay, the one that I wanted to get. Because when I buy a DVD, I want to get like the best one I can possibly get. I wanted to get the pizza box edition, which the DVD case is a pizza box that has like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo stamped on the top of it, and you open it like a pizza box, and it's cardboard, and it has all 4 movies in it. But that was still $50, and I was like, I don't want to pay $50 and then have to buy it again next year. When it comes with like commentary tracks and behind the scenes and stuff like that. So I was like, I'll get this cheapo set, for $15 and be done with it there. So
yeah, I paid $5 for mine on Black Friday, and I did the same thing with the 4 previous Bat films.
I don't own any of those on Blu-ray. In fact, I don't even own Dark Knight Rises on Blu-ray, which
I
baffles me. I don't know. You know what it is? I'm waiting for that massive collector's set that's coming at the end of September.
What does that include?
It's got all 3 movies, and it's a big old box. It's huge. I'll send you a link to it after the show.
Okay.
But it's like it's all 3 movies and a bunch of extra stuff, and it retails for like, it's supposed to be like $130, but they've got it for like $80 on Amazon or something like that. But it's like,
oh wow,
a collector's thing, and I'm like, well, you know what? I don't own the 3rd one, and I bought the first one 3 times. I might as well just go ahead. I bought the first one on DVD and then HD DVD and then again on Blu-ray. So,
nice.
Yeah. So again, leaving us without a segue here, but we're very movie heavy.
Well, getting into the, I mean, this isn't really a news or rumor thing. It's just somebody spouting off. But jumping from the explosions and everything from the Michael Bay part of TMNT, the new film or whatever, Bruce Willis.
Yep.
Yeah, I only have to mention this just because it's funny, because this is what the guy's known for, and yet he's like now at the point where he's like, yeah, I'm kind of bored about doing it. It's not exciting. It's like, well, we can tell by how you've been in the films, but
yeah, I was gonna say, like, his announcement that he doesn't want to do action movies or he's bored with action movies, but he's still doing it for the paycheck. That's actually been like, okay, that's fine if you want to say that and you can't see it on screen, but I haven't seen Red 2, but you could totally see it in the last Die Hard. And
oh yeah, the last Die Hard, he phoned that in. I mean, the whole movie was Jack, and then he's just like diving over stuff. You could have replaced him. It's like Police Academy in Moscow.
Right. And then oh, man, G.I. Joe. Like, why was he even in that movie? I mean,
paycheck.
Exactly. And another name that wasn't The Rock to help boost people, boost awareness. But I hate when people, it's kind of like Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine. Like, that is what he's really known for, and that role kind of made him like a household name, like with a lot of people, and he knows that. He's very aware of that.
And he's even stated that he loves the character, and as long as the script stays good, he'll keep doing it.
Right, he'll keep doing it. So it's kind of like, Bruce, why are you telling us you hate action movies? Why don't you just wait for a good one to come out instead of taking the paycheck? Like,
or maybe because he is John McClane in Die Hard, say, no, this movie sounds like crap.
Yeah.
You know, and then get them to rewrite it, because you really can't do Die Hard without him.
Well, I don't know. Olympus Has Fallen was a pretty good Die Hard movie without Bruce Willis.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was telling my wife, like, after, and especially after talking to you about it, I was like, yeah, that would have been a way better Die Hard film.
Yeah.
Die Hard 5 was terrible. Die Hard 4 was good for the fact that they came back to it almost 10 years later and revived it again, and time had passed and everything, and it still felt like Die Hard.
Now here's where I get something, because I even though I work in a movie theater and I was there for Live Free. Oh, wait, okay.
Die Hard 4.0 or Live Free or Die Hard.
Okay.
Same movie.
There was that one. And then the last Die Hard are the ones that I've worked at a movie theater for. And I've only seen parts of each Die Hard movie. I've never watched one from beginning to end. But just like my stance on certain video game franchises, I understand what the movies are. And I really don't have a critique of any of the movies. Although a bad movie is still a bad movie. And what I saw of the last one was a bad movie, and what I saw of 4.0, I like Timothy Olyphant, and he was the villain. So
it was. I just watched that with my wife recently, and while she doesn't stay awake for the full movie, the parts she did see she liked because it was all modern. But the thing about Die Hard is, the first film is great. That's what first put Bruce Willis on the map. The second film felt like they were trying, like the new script writer for the film tried to almost copy Die Hard 1, with the exception of, instead of the Nagatomi Towers, it was an airplane.
I was gonna say it wasn't an airplane.
And so it felt very much the same. The third film was again done by the first Die Hard writer. So it felt more like Die Hard, obviously.
Right.
And then you have Sam Jackson in it, and the villain is the brother of the villain from the first film. So that's the Grudge reason. But so that movie's really good too. And then 4.0 I like because it's all cyber techno warfare, and it goes to Washington DC and everything else around there. So.
And I guess my real complaint with the Die Hard movies, again, not having seen them really from beginning to end, but I'm pretty sure this isn't the case. His character never seems to evolve into anything. Like he's always the cop, or the cop on vacation. And
like the lieutenant, the detective. You know,
he appears to be moving up in his job, but it's kind of like you'd think someone would take notice that he's been in these situations, and it's kind of like, why don't we make him someone that assesses these situations for us instead of just the guy in them.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing I don't get about Die Hard. Like, at least with Die Hard 4, you would have thought they would have promoted him high up because he saved the nation.
Yeah.
From cyber terrorism. So why in Die Hard 5? Oh, I'm taking a vacation and my daughter's in here from Die Hard 4 for fan wank and kind of, to phone it in, and then I'm going to go meet my son that's not been heard from since the first film. And
I mean, I wonder what would happen if they made him a guy that was in the command center. Like, what if they had What if they made him the voice in the main character's ear? Like, he's the mission control for the guy that's in the mix, but he's not in the mix. Someone else is in the mix. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the one that he's like, okay, this is what you need to do. He's like, you need to find this, or you need to go do this. You need to see if you can get up the elevator shaft, or, you know, like, put somebody else in that situation, but have Bruce Willis being the guy that he's on the phone with, you know, trying to help him out, trying to help him get out of the situation. Because I'm just not, unless they make Bruce like a special forces guy, which again, he's a cop, so you don't go from being a cop to being a special forces guy.
But taking down as many terrorists as he has, I could see them jumping him up at least somewhere in that range.
I guess I would just, I think it would be a good like handing off thing too. I don't know. I just don't buy him being. I don't buy him being in as many situations as he's been in and not being promoted for it at all. And him being in those situations, like, I don't buy him being sent into those situations.
No, well, I mean, all of those he kind of fell into, other than Die Hard 4, where they sent him to go pick up the kid, and then everything started happening. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't buy, like, okay, like, I don't buy him being like, let's just take the first one for example. Imagine somebody else was stuck in the tower that was a cop. I don't imagine Bruce Willis being the guy that they call up on the phone and then send him into the tower to fix it.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
No, they wouldn't send him. They'd send some special forces. It just happens that he's in the wrong place at the wrong time.
But I would rather see him be the guy, like I said, the guy on, you know, that they bring him in, but they keep him in the special ops trailer, and he's like talking to the guy in the thick of it, you know, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, this is how you get out of this, because I've been there before. And then he can get in fights with the ground crew saying, I know what I'm doing, I've been in these situations 5 other times.
Or they could even make it so that he could go into the whole battle with them eventually, like maybe towards the end, but not be the primary focus.
I just think it'd be interesting if he wasn't in the middle of it in a movie. I mean, if we get another one, are they making another one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they are making Die Hard 6, and this one's going to take place in like Shanghai or something.
Of course it is.
And it's going to be with his son. And I kind of told Blanchard this. I said, the moment a film franchise jumps from the United States to another country, it's all over.
Yeah, I mean, at that point,
because I use Police Academy as my example. What did they do? They sent them to Moscow, and like, I mean, it was over as soon as Gutenberg left.
Okay,
honestly, but I think he left in 4. So 5, 6, and 7, it started declining because they started losing cast members every movie, and then 7, they were in Moscow, and I was like, this is crap. I mean, not to bash the other countries, because it has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with where they're stationed, and then all of a sudden, we're gonna go overseas. And
yeah, well, I think that's a problem with asking the audience to suspend disbelief, because at some point, doesn't he start breaking international law? Like, does he have the authority to operate in said country the way that he does? I mean, he's not a cop there. He's just a guy. Like,
yep.
If he's arrested, does he not, can he not be like, thrown in jail and never seen again? It just seems, I don't know, it just seems, the whole Russian thing just seemed that's where it kind of got a little hokey for me, because he has no, as far as I know, he has no special papers that says he has no license to kill. He's not James Bond. He can't go into another country and just do what he wants. He's supposed to be just the regular guy on the street. So, I don't know. Well, I mean, obviously we'll see when that one happens.
Yeah, I think it's going to be terrible, but because even Stallone's called him out, according to that article.
Yeah,
calling him a greedy and lazy after the Die Hard actor turned down his money for, and he was going to pay him $3 million for 4 days of shooting on Expendables 3. I'm sorry, 4 days of shooting is worth $3 million, and he turned it down because he wanted 4.
Now, wasn't... And it could be... Well, you know, that's a perfect segue into something else, and so we can do that after this. They wasn't... At the time, didn't Schwarzenegger get like $30 million for Batman Forever? Or was it Batman and Robin? Which one was he in?
He was in Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I think there was some kind of crazy rumor that he got $30 million for 30 minutes of screen time.
That's disgusting.
Because any time where the camera is not in his face, it is not him. It's just another guy in the Mr. Freeze stuff.
That's hilarious.
I don't know if that's true. That's just something that I heard at the time when it was an internet rumor. At the time when that came out, I think I read it in like an Entertainment Weekly or something, because I was like what, 97, so the internet wasn't even really a thing back then. But yeah, he got like $25 to $30 million for like 30 minutes of screen time. At the time, it was like one of the most ridiculous deals ever heard of. But now, we've got Fox supposedly offering Hugh Jackman, who we talked about a little bit ago. They're offering him $100 million to play Wolverine in 4 more movies after Days of Future Past.
Honestly, I think he should just take the paycheck, and he enjoys the character, and as long as he's liking where it's going and the scripting, I mean, not that they honestly need to keep going with X-Men or with Wolverine, because they've had Wolverine's like the Tony Stark of the X-Men.
Yes.
So true. I can see keeping him on as long as he wants to do it, but you don't want to have him go out and have a crappy film. You want him to go out with a bang, not with a whimper.
Yeah, I think X-Men Origins. I liked Wolverine. I'll say I liked the first half of Wolverine.
The Wolverine or Wolverine Origins?
I hated Wolverine Origins.
That was a terrible movie.
I'm a big fan of Wolverine, and I like the Weapons Plus program. And anybody wants to comment about that movie, and you don't know what the Weapons Plus program is, I won't be talking to you. But I'm a big fan of that, and they did that such a disservice in the movie. Like the Weapons Plus or the Weapon X program for the layman, that could be a 2-hour movie in and of itself, and it would have been amazing. And instead they brushed it off in like 20 minutes maybe. I've only seen that movie like twice. Once I saw a bootleg cut, which had unfinished special effects and a bunch of other stuff, and then I actually saw it in the theater. I don't know why I went and saw it in the theater after seeing a bootleg cut first. But I liked the Wolverine. I liked the character development they tried for. The last quarter of the movie, I don't know if you've seen it, Steve.
I did.
Like from the moment he shows up in the village at the end of the movie where he drops the F-bomb.
Yeah.
Like from there on, I have no clue what's happening. Like,
yeah, I was having a difficult time telling what the hell was going on, too.
I'm okay. It's not like I closed my eyes and stopped watching for like the last quarter of the movie. I understood what was happening. I had a hard time understanding why stuff was happening in the movie. Don't know where the Ninja Clan came from. They just showed up out of nowhere, and then I think that was really the only thing that kind of irked me about it. And the never-ending factory that was apparently like the tallest building in the world, and you could just keep falling through floors. Like it looked like a playset. The inside of the factory did. And I didn't like the implication of Wolverine's powers. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff that just kind of that irked me about what they did with the character.
Yeah, and I wasn't fond of how the Silver Samurai was portrayed either.
I mean,
I understand it, but I wasn't a huge fan of the whole thing. And then the chopping off of Wolverine's claws.
I'm not sure that's unprecedented, but it's never happened in the comics.
Well, I mean, his chopping off the claws, as far as I know, the only way to get the adamantium out of him was for Magneto to physically pull the metal out of his bones.
Yes, but I don't think that's... Did we talk about this? I feel like we talked about this. Was it off-scene that we talked about this?
May have been.
I just feel like there was a lot of implied... his... Spoilers, okay? I feel like... But if you're listening to this and you haven't seen Wolverine... I can't do anything for you. I feel like when they cut off the claws and then he starts like drilling into him, I felt like, and he started like aging and like dying like in front of him, and the Silver Samurai started getting younger and younger. I felt like that was such a big, like, I didn't understand what was happening, because to me that implied that Wolverine's healing factor was tied to his claws, and that's not how that works.
They were talking about from his bones, and they had to cut through the adamantium to get...
Right, but what's weird about it is, if anyone that knows anything, like what's his face, Deadpool got his healing factor from Wolverine.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, we know that it's transferable that way, so why are we trying to kill Wolverine? Why didn't you just say, hey, can I have some of your mutant ability? Like, can I put it in myself? I mean, they've done it once, right?
Well, all they'd have to do is take, like, a blood sample.
Right. I didn't understand the whole, like, you have to die in order for me to live thing. I was like, no, that's... In your own freaking movie, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, you prove that wasn't a thing. Like, why all of a sudden are we having to kill him? Like... I didn't buy it. I mean, I was okay with the sword cutting off the claws, but the geek in me, when they grew back almost instantaneously, that's when I cried foul. I was like, no, the bone claws do not grow back that fast.
Well, it was kind of like, I mean, shoot, you saw how long it took him to recover just from having that bug in his heart.
Yeah, but I think there's a difference.
It took a lot longer. That would be quicker than claws, because that's all flesh. Like,
right.
It's not...
I was gonna say, I think soft tissue damage would heal faster than bone.
Yeah, and I wasn't a fan of how, miraculously there's bone claws. I like him better with the adamantium claws. But they kind of wussed out in the film, though, by not really actually showing it. It seems like they were trying to make it too, like, in video game terms, rated E for everyone.
Yeah. I mean,
never saw the claws puncture anything.
No, and I'm okay with that. I mean, there's a whole other discussion we can have in a future episode. Like, I do not think that the Wolverine should have been rated PG-13. I'm just going to say that right now. Yes, there's very little blood. There's not a lot of, obviously there isn't a lot of swearing. There's a fair amount, but I was like, no, it should not have been PG-13, because and the argument given in a lot of articles that I've read is that what you're telling PG-13, by rating Wolverine PG-13 and rating Pacific Rim PG-13, you're telling audiences that they're like the same movie from a content perspective, and they're not. Pacific Rim is nowhere near as violent as the Wolverine is. And
no.
I remember being like before it came out and it got the PG-13 rating, and then I heard that they were going to make a director's cut, with an unrated director's cut. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great, cool. And then I watched the movie and I was like, what are they gonna do? I mean, it seems like they're gonna add like fake blood like they do in the Expendables, and that's just gonna look really hokey. But no, Wolverine's one of my favorite characters. But going back to the Hugh Jackman deal, I feel like if he takes the deal, I feel like he should take it on the basis that he gets some kind of approval over the script.
I think, yeah, I could see that, because otherwise they could just stick him to a piece of crap movie, kind of like Bruce Willis.
Yeah. So I mean, good on good on Fox for trying to get him locked in, and there's still plenty of stories that you could tell. And I do agree he's the Tony Stark, but I feel like
they're kind of using it up.
I feel like he needs to have final say at how the character gets used. Because I don't want to see another X-Men Origins movie.
No, I don't either. It's bad. I mean, and I figured out what we were talking about. We were talking about Days of Futures Past. We weren't actually talking about the Wolverine or
right
future of it.
But was it you, or I'm trying to remember if it was you or if it was someone else that was implying that they were trying to take the adamantium from Wolverine by cutting off his claws. Was that you?
No, I knew they were taking the healing ability, but
Okay.
I think I may have insinuated that in the last one just by talking about it, because you go to the airport scene at the end and Magneto's holding him.
Yeah, right.
And he can't move, but he's got bone claws.
Yeah, I think we'll see them a lot more in Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the bone claw.
I don't know too many people that are. I mean, they had to go out of their way to make him look cool in the comic book. They made him look all gnarly and like spiked and all this other crazy stuff when he had the bone claws in the comic, and it was just like there's no way those go in his arm. He would rip his arm off when he extended his claws. So, let's see. Another comic book movie rumor about Jim Carrey as Cletus Cassidy, as a cameo for Cletus Cassidy in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I can see him playing the role. I'm not too familiar with the character, but
I know that he becomes Carnage in the 616 universe, which is the standard Marvel continuity.
Isn't this the Ultimate Universe though?
I see. That's the thing. Is it Ultimate? But they keep I think they're just mashing everything together. I mean, I like Ultimate Spider-Man better than the other Spider-Man books, and Amazing Spider-Man drew heavily from Ultimate Spider-Man. If it was going to be if they were going to do Ultimate Carnage, Carnage in the Ultimate Universe is actually Gwen Stacy.
Oh wow.
So that I don't think they're going to do that. And what really kind of surprises me is Jim Carrey playing a homicidal psychopath, especially after what he just said about Kick-Ass 2 being too violent.
Wow, he's real wishy-washy.
Well, I don't think that. First off, Kick-Ass 2 is a rated R movie. Amazing Spider-Man is going to be PG-13. And yes, PG-13 movies are starting to push that boundary, but I don't think that they're going to get Kick-Ass 2 level violence out of an Amazing Spider-Man movie.
No, I really doubt that too.
So, I mean, they can push it pretty far, but again, it's just a cameo and it's just a rumor. Apparently they did some shooting on a set for like Ravenholm psychiatric institution, and that is where Cletus Cassidy resides in the Marvel 616 universe. So did you like Amazing Spider-Man? I can't remember if we found that
Oh
out.
yeah.
Okay.
I like that a lot better than the other trilogy.
Right. I liked a lot of the Amazing Spider-Man. I feel like the Lizard was underdeveloped.
Yeah, I get that too, but
So
I like what they did with Peter Parker and Spider-Man in general.
yeah, I like that they made him at least appear on screen to be intelligent.
Instead of I don't know what you do.
Yeah. So I'm excited. And obviously they're doing they might be doing a lot of world building in this one in Amazing Spider-Man 2, because they've already got Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4. They've got dates for those two movies already. So I think it's like 2014, 2016, and 2018 are the dates for 2, 3, and 4. So we got anything else? I think I exhausted my entire list.
I don't think news-wise we had anything else. I could have sworn there was something else.
Do we care that Jerry Bruckheimer might be losing Final Cut on Pirates of the Caribbean 5?
Not really.
I
mean, I haven't seen much go on good with the last few films that he's done, so I mean,
see,
I'm kind of
I'm mixed about that, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the story that I found about Legendary is moving away from Warner Brothers. I think they signed a deal with Paramount to go with them for distribution stuff. So one of the stories I found had Legendary swapping the rights for the movie, which we will not talk about in the show, to get their name on Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. So Legendary will no longer have a hand in Batman versus Superman. I feel like, I don't know. I guess it started out being director. I don't want directors to change hands between films. I like a continuous vision, and then you start realizing that there's like a whole team of people that go together really well. And I don't think there's a Legendary's picture film that I haven't liked in some regard. They did love them or hate them, or like some of them or not. They did all of the Hangover movies. They did all the Batman movies. They did Superman. They've done a lot of stuff for Warner Brothers over like the last decade.
Yeah. They've done a lot.
So and when I first heard that they were like parting ways, I was kind of like, oh man, that hurts. But you know what? Legendary Pictures is still going to be Legendary Pictures. They're just changing their distribution partner. So
yeah,
but at the same time,
it'll kind of suck for Warner Brothers.
Yeah, but apparently Warner Brothers has been wanting to get them off of their movies so they're not sharing profits with them anymore. But at the same time, I go, that's dumb. They put up some of their own money to make Batman popular again. I mean, he was never not popular, but you can't argue
after the Schumacher films, it kind of was a dead property.
Exactly. So, that was the only other thing I can think of. And I know that, being movie heavy, GeekCast Radio has, M-Wire, Movie Week in Review?
Yeah.
Where you guys go more in depth about different movies and franchises?
Yep, we do that in that show. I'm not sure what stage of Tooncast Beyond is going on at this point. So I mean, like the Batman and the Ninja Turtles won't be covered right away.
Right, that's right. We talked about cartoons. Haha.
Yes. I'm trying to think what the other thing was. Because I remember we had something else, topic-wise.
Well, I got the Star Wars rumor.
Yeah.
We talked about Jackman's contract. We talked about Jim Carrey. We talked about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think the rest of the stuff is for after the show is over.
Yeah.
Because of our embargo.
What do you think? This is Batman related, but it's not film related. About the Arkham Origins content, like as far as
about the game itself.
Yeah, and the voice cast and the some of the changes they're making.
I will say the more video that I watch and the more trailers they put out, the more intrigued I get. I will certainly buy it to play it, because I don't want to have an opinion of a game without actually having played it. That said, I just feel like Rocksteady did such a good job with Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Although personally, I enjoy Arkham Asylum way more than City. City felt too unfocused, in my opinion. And that's not speaking to the game's mechanics or anything or the graphics or anything like that. It just felt very unfocused. It felt like a whole lot of fan service going on. But they still did a really good job with both games, and I feel like, you hear about, what is it? Who is Warner Brothers Montreal?
Yeah.
Who has it? Okay.
Warner Brothers Montreal, yeah.
I feel like, they do these things like, yeah, we got all the code and everything from
Rocksteady.
Yeah, we got all the code and everything from Rocksteady, so we're starting off in good hands, and we're gonna do. And it's just like, I feel like when that kind of stuff happens, it's like saying that making video games is such a cookie cutter, anybody can do it, thing. And it's like, no, if anybody could make a Batman game, it would have been done a long time ago. And it took
Rocksteady is the only ones to have successfully revived the video game franchise.
Yeah, and it blows my mind that they think that, and I'm not saying that they're not going to make a good game. I'm not saying that. It's just when these type of things happen, it's like, if it could have been done before, it would have been done. But Rocksteady's the one and they did it twice in a row, and now they hand it off to another company because Rocksteady's working on another game, and Warner Brothers wants another Arkham game. And it's just kind of like, okay. And so what do? They go and make it a prequel, so they don't they don't run the risk of, ruining Rocksteady's story by doing a sequel to City. And then they go and they can't get the voice cast back, so then they just start recasting people. And
well, it wasn't that they couldn't get them back, it's that they didn't want them. Because Kevin Conroy, I know he would have come back, but they didn't want him. They wanted a younger sounding Batman, which to me is kind of stupid because Conroy has the range to play, being that he's a voice actor. He can play young Batman, he can play current age Batman, and he can play old Batman. He's done it before.
Right.
And from what I've heard from somebody who's beta tested the game, the voice actor who was impersonating Bruce, Kevin Conroy, as Bruce Wayne Batman, did a piss poor job of impersonating him. Like, it sounds, I guess from what I've heard, really bad. Because it's not, I mean, not to knock the voice actor, because I'm sure he did the best with what he was being told, but if you're going to imitate the actor, you might as well get the original actor over trying to copy.
Yeah, I forgot that they were...
sorry to cut you off, but like Mark Hamill, I can see doing a younger version of his character because he's aged, his voice is aged. It's hard for him to do, a younger, giggly version of the Joker without going gritty like he is now. So I could see recasting the young Joker because you wouldn't have to have all of the character nuances and all that in it. But for Kevin Conroy's part alone, I think they should have just kind of kept going with him.
Well, yeah, and on the flip side of that is I think you can recast the Joker because, and nothing against Mark Hamill, he's the voice of the Joker, just like Conroy's the voice of Batman. But I feel like Joker isn't a main character. He's not the most persistent. But he's not the most persistent voice in the game. So you can get someone that can do
an impersonation.
An impersonation of the voice. Kind of like what they did with Harley Quinn from Arkham to City.
Yeah.
But from the videos that I've seen of Arkham Asylum Arkham Origins, the voice, if they wanted a younger Batman, they failed. It does not sound like a younger Batman. It sounds like Batman. Like,
yeah,
why is it not Kevin Conroy? Like,
well, you can't really copy that tone that Kevin Conroy's done with Batman. I mean, he kind of invented that impersonation or that vision of Batman that's just the voice of Batman. I mean, that's not a young Batman. That's just, you know,
he is Batman. Like
it's an impersonation of it sounds like an impersonation of Batman, like it's, you know, meant to be, but doesn't. It fails by comparison.
Yes.
And I think it's kind of a cop out, like you said, about cookie cuttering the stuff that Rocksteady did, because they're saying that the game is supposed to be Arkham. It's supposed to be Gotham City, obviously, because it's the prequel, but it's supposed to be 3 times the size of Arkham City map.
Okay.
And from a decent amount of like the video and some of the pictures, you can see clearly some of the spots in Arkham City that are in Arkham Origins, just with snow on them instead of like dirt and stuff. So it's.
Well, I'm not so much worried about like the assets, you know, sharing assets or anything like that. It just seems like you're not the team that you didn't make. This isn't your game.
You're just adding on to something somebody else did.
Yeah, and I really don't want to take away from people that work on video games, because you do this kind of work so then you can do the work that you want to do. But I just feel like, you know, I don't fault you or Warner Brothers Montreal. I fault Warner Brothers Games for this, because it's kind of like what happens in movies and what kind of happened with X-Men 3 and Superman Returns. It's like Bryan Singer wanted to do X-Men 3, but he wanted to do Superman Returns. And so he went to do that, and then Fox is like, well, no, we want X-Men 3 out at the same time, so we're just going to go ahead and find another director, and he'll just trash your entire project. It feels like that's kind of what happened here. It's like Rocksteady wanted to go and work on a different game, and from what I understand, it's like Silver Age DC Heroes, like a Silver Age Justice League game. Like, that's the last thing I heard.
For what, Arkham Origins?
No.
Or for the after Arkham City?
Yeah, Rocksteady's working on like a Silver Age Justice League game.
I don't think it'll be Silver Age, just because you got the modern Batman and all that kind of stuff in it. But
I think the story they're using is from the Silver Age or something. But I don't think the character designs will be from the Silver Age.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't put it past them to reuse an old story, but and I'm pretty sure that Conroy will be on that one. If they don't, they're going to be shooting themselves in the foot, kind of. But
it just seems like okay, so Rocksteady wanted to make another game in that universe, but they didn't want to call it Arkham something, and then Warner Brothers was like, well, we need to print money, so what studio can we get to make another game? And so they just, you know, Ubisoft, or not Ubisoft, oh my gosh, Warner Brothers Montreal was just like, oh, well, we can make an Arkham game, and then they got all the assets from Rocksteady, and it's like, okay, now, and here we are. And on that note, I am going to go run and get the charger for my computer.
Alrighty.
And I will be right back. Don't stop recording, because it'll make it a pain in the ass to edit.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
So, anyways.
Yes.
That's my opinion of Origins. Like I said, I'll probably pick it up, because the more I see about it, the more it looks, and the mechanics I loved the mechanics in Asylum and in City. I just felt like they nailed Batman. But just so I can kind of state my opinion, I don't think I do like the Arkham games, but what they did is, you know, what a lot of games do. They borrowed the best from other franchises, and then they put a cape and cowl on their main character. And
yeah,
so I mean, you've got touches of Metroid in, you know, Arkham Asylum, and then you've got massive Splinter Cell influences with all the stealth mechanics, and the push button to win gameplay style that they have, you know, is it's all contextual based buttons, where like one button can do like 50 different things depending on where you are in the environment. That kind of I mean, it came out of a lot of things before this, but it reminds me a lot of Assassin's Creed. But other games have done it before, so don't jump on me in the comments about that. But I just felt like it took the best elements of those games and then, got the right voice cast and the writers. That's the other thing. Origins doesn't have the same writers.
No, well, Asylum and City had Paul Dini.
Right.
Who is like the godfather of Batman.
And now he's like knee deep in Marvel's Ultimate cartoons.
Yeah, so I mean, not only are you losing, I mean, think about it. You don't have Paul Dini, you don't have Bruce Timm. Two of the driving forces of DC's animation and gaming and comics and whatever. So I mean, there's a lot of changes going on for one, but I also think Warner Brothers has their head so far up their ass because they won't let anything go creatively with anybody. They're so tight on the reins that I think they're smothering their own franchises from other creative interpretations. I mean, and when I say that, I mean that they're doing it on all fronts with stuff pertaining to DC.
Right. Well, because nobody else can make a DC movie other than Warner Brothers. Like,
yeah.
They're not letting someone. They're not like Marvel let Lionsgate make Punisher and Fox makes the X-Men movies. They're not letting other studios, make a Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
So, are you looking forward to it though? I mean, I'm assuming you have concerns.
I have my concerns. I'm hoping that the gameplay is similar to Arkham City, and when I say gameplay, I mean like the mechanics of it. I like how the characters played better in Arkham City over Arkham Asylum. It seemed because like the climbing up ledges, the gadgets, I mean that kind of stuff, I like more in Arkham City than I like in Asylum.
Right.
Mostly his personal upgrades and utilities and all that kind of stuff, and how he climbs or jumps between things. I like that aspect of City more. If those would have been in the Asylum, it would have been like icing on the cake. Right,
but two completely different games. Not completely different games, but the environment of City facilitated more to the climbing and the general platforming abilities of Arkham City than they would have in Arkham Asylum.
Well, the only parts I was getting at that those would have made it easier was when you're out in the courtyard between buildings and you're being shot at by snipers.
Oh, yeah.
I would have liked to have been able to climb and hang on ledges instead of climbing all the way up and getting pummeled or shot.
Okay.
Or being able to jump off the guard towers and collide into.
Yeah, you couldn't glide.
You couldn't. No.
Oh, wow.
You couldn't stand on. I mean, you could glide to an extent, but you couldn't. You didn't have as much control.
Wow. I can't. Okay.
I only know this because I recently played Asylum again and beat it, and it was a lot more difficult to me than Arkham City, which, I mean, I guess that's good too, but going from City and going back to Asylum, you can see the downgrade because you're trying to climb on stuff and glide down into things, and you can't. Once you do that, you're over the ledge. There is no kind of hanging on the ledge.
Right.
So I mean that was more so some of my pet peeves between the two.
Okay. I when I was talking about the mechanics, I was talking about the combat. I just felt like they did a really good job making the counter button, making you feel like you're Batman. Like you just jump in the middle of 5 guys and you can get through without getting a scratch on you.
Oh, I know. I love it.
Making it look like you're a badass, just flipping all over the place and punching.
And I like the skins, and I like the extra maps and the Riddler challenges and all that. I like all that a lot more in City as well.
Well, here's I felt when I say that City was unfocused, I say City's unfocused compared to Arkham because
Well, it's all the extra side storylines. It's not
right. Everything in Arkham was there for a reason. Like, it felt like you cross paths with different supervillains because they contributed to the story. Unlike Arkham City, like Bane, like, you see him really early in the game and he gives you one side quest and then he's done. It's like, what? Why? Why did I even interact with him? Why is he even in the, he provides nothing to the game other than fan service.
Well, and it's like there's let me think what it is. There's the finding Freeze's wife to an extent. I mean, yeah, that was kind of part of it. It's not really relevant. There's
that.
There's finding the Scarecrow thing, kind of insinuating for the next game.
Well, there's the
there's the Mad Hatter.
I found that one.
Yeah, the Mad Hatter's that's all right. I mean,
but it doesn't do anything, does it?
Yeah, the Mad Hatter thing, it makes you think that there's a capsule there that you get the cure to the blood disease. And then you get mind controlled by the Mad Hatter. So I can see that, but they should have tied it into the story so where you had to do it at a certain point.
Okay, the only thing here's the thing. The only thing I remember with the Mad Hatter is going into that room on the top of a building and seeing the Tea Party.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I remember having to do with the Mad Hatter.
He, if you picked up the capsule, like touch the capsule, it would say get cure, and then he kind of zones out like he's poisoned or whatever, and then wakes up and the Mad Hatter's screwing with his head.
I don't think I ever did that. Is it the capsule that he gets the suit in? Is that what you're talking about?
It's the same type of capsule, but it's another building.
Huh. I don't know if I ever did that. See? I may not have experienced that.
And then there's the Zaz thing, which all that was a race against time. I hated that just because of the time.
Yeah, I think, wasn't he the one that was like in that electric warehouse that had water on the floor?
Yep.
Okay.
And you had to get across it without getting electrocuted or without him seeing you.
Yeah, but did you even have to do that?
What, that side mission?
Yeah.
No, none of the side missions were required. You didn't have to do any of them. And there's like the Azrael one, which you go to the 4 points of the map.
Okay.
And then it shows you where his final place is, and then he insinuates for the next game. And then you get the Riddler warehouse. Which
Riddler
I stopped
stuff.
that after I got four hostages released. I didn't have enough Riddler things, and I was like, screw it, I don't care enough.
Yeah, the Riddler stuff is kind of what really set me off about the whole game. I saw. Sorry, I playing the game. You can go into that map screen. You can see your different side quests and distress signals and stuff on the map, right? And very early on, there's that moment where it's like you have to go to the church. Hostage situation at the church or something like that. And I kept thinking, oh, I'll go over there eventually. The game will take me over there eventually, and I'll, that'll be a thing. And I got to the end of the game, and I beat it, and the ending of that game is awful. But I beat it, and that thing was still on my map. I never went over there. Like, I went over by it, doing different little things here and there, and like destroying those, the sentry turrets or whatever they were that were on the outside of the map by all the exits.
Yeah.
Well, I went every other place but that place, and at some point I actually told myself, I was like, I'm not going there unless the game makes me go there. And I ended up finishing the game with it there, and I told my friend who was playing it too, I said, I have no idea how to do these Riddler challenges that people are talking about. How do you, like, there was nothing to do with the Riddler. He goes, yeah, there was. I'm like, where? He goes, the church. I'm like, what? And then, of course, I go over to the church, and, it starts the whole cutscene and the Riddler thing, and it's like, but by that point, I've already beaten the game, and I'm like, oh. So I did, like, 1 or 2 of them, and I was like, I'm done.
I did the first 4, and I wasn't going to go around and pick up all the Riddler trophies. So I said screw it. But I mean, and then there's the prisoner hostage thing. There's which was stupid. It was just another reason to fly around the map. Then there was the hush.
Yeah, and then there's the
side
crimes,
quest.
right? There's the crimes.
Yeah, they had the crimes, which are the hostage thing.
Okay, all right.
There was like the scene or one of the spots where you rescue the Mayor Sharp. There was, I think that was actually a part of the story though.
Okay.
But no, then you have Hush where he cuts apart a bunch of guys and makes himself look like Bruce Wayne.
I don't know if I ever did that.
That one is incredibly difficult to actually trigger.
Okay.
Like, I had to watch a YouTube video because the first one triggered itself during the game because I was in the area and I scanned a dead body laying on the ground that it told me to. Then there was the second one, which because you follow like bleach or blood or something to the next area, you see like a bleach bottle, then you find the guy that had the bleach, which was paid off by the Hush guy, and then it stops. You don't see anything else for a while. And then all of a sudden I stumble upon it somewhere off that area, and there's a third body. And then after that, it gives you hints of where to go for the warehouse building to go to that you get locked in temporarily while Hush stands there and gloats. But I mean, it was, I had to look up a YouTube video just to get past it.
And I don't remember anything like that in Arkham Asylum.
No, there was nothing like that. Like, everything in Arkham Asylum was pretty much right there in your face. The only thing I didn't like is that you didn't have the option to do like a Game Plus.
Yes. Does City even have that?
Yes.
Okay.
You can continue on and play the game again with all your upgrades, and then you can also
you can keep
continuously pummeling guys every time you go in the game.
Okay.
Whereas in Asylum, once you beat it, everybody's gone. Nobody's home. You can collect Riddler trophies, but you're the only one in the asylum.
That's fine. When I'm going around and collecting stuff like that, things like that are just a nuisance to me. I'm like, I just want to get this trophy. I don't want to clear a room.
Yeah, I can see that sometimes. The then you have like, I think Deadshot or whatever, Bullseye or somebody, I don't know.
A whole lot of fan service.
Yeah, it was a lot of crap that I could have done without.
Like if Origins can pull off the open worldness of City with the focus of Asylum, that's awesome. But I don't mind side quests. I don't mind them. I just it's weird when it's a one-off thing, like the Bane thing, and like even the Mr. Freeze thing. That was a bigger part of the game than Bane was.
Yeah,
it was a lot more. It was a lot more meaty. And I there was somebody else that was really like just kind of there and then gone. Was it like Penguin? Or I don't know. I played through the game. I finished it and I was done with it.
I continuously play it, but that's because I like the game.
The one thing I wish that they would do in either one of them, because they released like character skins, right? Like,
oh yeah, they had
like Robin.
Like it most of them came with like Catwoman for Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, and there was like 7 different Batman skins. You could play as Nightwing and Robin in the map packs if you downloaded that. And then there's the Harley Quinn's Revenge, which was great.
Okay, I wish that they would let you use those skins in the game, like the Robin and the Nightwing. Like, I wish they were in the game. Like, that would make me. It would just be a lot more fun. To play
you could play Game Plus. I mean, and use them.
You can.
No, I said it would be great if you could.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's like I've gone through the game once as Batman. let me go in as, Robin and, be this little guy and, beat up
I mean, you
some
can
people.
go in as Catwoman, but that's not really any fun to me because she's got 3 special tools and that's it. Whereas, like, Robin at least had that metal shield, which was kind of cool. You could walk directly in gunfire and you could ram guys. I mean...
But see, that's not necessarily just a city issue. Our Asylum. I have the same problem with Asylum. You go into the challenge maps as Batman and you can use the armored suit. Which...
Oh, I know.
And it's like, why can't I use this skin in the actual game? Why?
I wish I could.
I just... it would give me a reason to play around with it some more. Because it just looks cool. But no, they don't. So...
Yeah. I think that's about it on Arkham Asylum and Arkham games.
Yeah, until we play it.
Yes.
Until it comes out. So I don't want to knock on it too bad because, like I said, I understand that the studio needs to do this, and it's Warner Brothers that's making them do it. It's just, I guess I want it to be good for them. It's just I haven't heard one thing that makes me go, yes, this is gonna be great. And especially the whole, like, they've announced, like, multiplayer and stuff for the game. Why? Whatever. You want to waste your money making a multiplayer portion of your game, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Not every game needs multiplayer. You just need to make a good game.
Yeah, I don't understand that either, but...
So.
Yep.
But... Anything else? Got anything else?
No, I think that's about it for the content part of the show.
So, and if anyone else is interested in hearing more about video games, all video games, well, mostly video games 90% of the time when we're not blasting each other, you can check out Off the Cuff on GeekCast Radio as well. So that's all I got.
Yep. Yeah. Again, about listener feedback, we'll try and mention it on the next show for the previous episode post, and keep an eye on it, kind of thing. Got any questions for the listeners this time?
Oh man, shoot.
I know we've been kind of asked in the post, and we'd kind of already talked about it before the show, about fall news shows coming in the fall. Not necessarily.
I was actually going to do that exact same thing. I was going to use that. Yeah, we were asked in the forums if they wanted us to talk about what TV shows we were looking forward to this fall, which I'm prepared to do a little bit of YouTube homework to catch some of them. We can talk about that next time. Why don't they let us know what they're looking forward to? And we'll see how it jives with our list of what we're looking forward to. But I don't want to take that guy's question. Do you have a question, or were you going to do the same thing?
I was going to say part of that. I mean, because he said what new fall TV shows. I would kind of open it up of maybe what shows do you think are either that are new or returning that are going to either A, get canceled or get better with the new season.
Okay.
And maybe why. I mean, because even in the first episode we kind of mentioned Supernatural about how season 6 and 7 was really garbage and then 8 redeemed it.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, I got one. So new consoles coming this fall. Are you looking forward to the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4, or are you a PC gamer? You elite pieces of garbage. Or what do you have do you have a pick in the fight? Kind of multiple stage question here. What is there a game that you're looking forward to this fall over others? And if you're not up on the gaming thing, maybe what has been your favorite video game? Let's just start there. Like, I guess, if you want to answer the other two questions that I asked you there, that's fine. But let's just boil it down to why don't you let us know what your favorite games are of all time? It doesn't matter, NES, Atari, Super Nintendo, arcade, whatever. Just let us know. Maybe we'll talk about it next time on the show. That's all I got. Where can they answer us, Steve?
Yes, there are many places that they can answer us. One of them being on the GeekCast Radio Network homepage. Once the episode is published, look for the Altered Geek, and you should be able to answer in the comment section there. Another place to try is you can also @reply us on Twitter at GeekCast Radio. You can also tag myself at SCP21 in your Twitter.
Is Booth Ninja 81, all one word.
So I mean, if you want to answer that way, those are two good ways. You can do the feedback voicemail, or I mixed the two together. Wow, that was great.
Feedback voicemail.
Yes. You can send voicemails through the feedback email, or you can send them to our voicemail line, which is 502-526-5821. Or the feedback email, which is feedback@geekcastradio.com. And the fifth and final place that I'll pimp out, just because the forums have kind of been over the last while. I'll probably figure something out once we go version 5 on the site to integrate everything all together.
Wow, that cat is going crazy.
Yes. For those of you that don't see anything, I have a cat that's going nuts, and we're on webcam, so
I think we
that's
can
what
hear
he's
it.
commenting. Yes, she's racing around. She's staring at me and going while she's like scratching herself. So she looks like she's gonna jump at me. It's great. Or you can reply to the post on the Facebook fan page under this episode when it's published, letting us know there, and we'll be sure to check all of the information and do our research so that the next episode will actually catch everything. So
sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Oh, and let us know also, why don't you let us know what you think of the show? I mean, you're listening, so you must like something about it, but feedback is feedback. I mean, we're doing this because we like it, but we're putting work into it because we want you to like it. So let us know how we're doing.
Yeah. So if there's something positive, negative, I promise you we won't cut you out for any kind of feedback.
And we won't ban you from listening.
No, we won't.
Can we even do that? I don't think we can.
There's been a few exceptions, but there's other extenuating reasons. But no, we'll definitely respond to some degree and try and figure out maybe why, if you don't like something, figure out why and talk about that. But hopefully you like the show, and eventually, once we maybe figure some other things out, maybe be able to do like a Google Places or YouTube episode of it with the video. Or
hey, I'm up for trying anything. So
I'm up for trying it too, because then that would not only be another avenue to listen/watch it, or it would also keep the content of the show on the video, because I've been
cat's going to attack you. I'm sorry. I really like the video. It makes this a lot better.
My cat's going ape. She's like, no, don't touch me. I will slap you.
So, shoot, I had something. Oh, you know what? One last question, and then we can tag it and close it out. Let's see if we can get them to help us come up with a good closing line to end the show on. let's just see what people can come up with. I have a hard time doing it off the cuff. Oftentimes, I just say I don't know how to close the show and then I end it. I honestly, I say I don't know how to close the show, and then one of my co-hosts does something stupid, and then I end the show. So you know what? Why don't the listeners help us come up with a tag, and we'll consider each and every one of them, and we'll use one. Maybe we'll string all of them together into one big mess. Who knows?
Yes.
So
because in some of the shows, like most of our podcasts, it's thank you for listening until next time, or like M-Wire, it's the Don LaFontaine clip saying "in a world," and then it says, "There, I said it, happy."
So yeah, but if that's fine with you guys, that's fine too. We just want to make a show you want to listen to, so let us know.
Yes, let us know, and we will catch you next time.